So the big breaking news from the Hungarian this morning is that Sebastian Vettel will be retiring from Formula One at the end of the 2022 season. It's a huge blow for F1 as a sport, but also off track as well. But it's news that we were kind of thinking might be coming at some point this year. Now, the reasons Seb gave were given on his Instagram account. It's the first time he's had any kind of social media presence ever. He's not been on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that before. But he announced on there that he was retiring from F1 by the end of the year. His decisions, he said he wanted to spend more time with his family and focus more on who he was outside of the sport. But there's also a big thing about his off-track interests, namely climate change, the climate crisis facing the world right now, and environmental issues around the world. Now, Seb has been such a key spokesperson for this. Any race we go to, he'll often have a special helmet or a t-shirt or something like that talking about issues facing the world right now environmentally. I think he's been quite clear in his sort of the wrestling he's had internally about F1's future and where it's going. Recently, he's done a couple of runs, one in the 1992 Nigel Mansell car, another in a 1922 Aston Martin car, both done on carbon neutral fuel, basically showing to Formula One technology is there to try and do something a bit more sustainable and help the world moving forward. Seb was on Question Time, a very high profile UK politics show a few months ago, and he said, "I'm a hypocrite." He admitted that for racing in a gas guzzling, globe-trotting sport whilst trying to talk about the environment. So undoubtedly that has definitely come into his decision making. It's something that I think he's had to align with himself. Does he want to be in a sport that is traveling around the world so much? Obviously all the freight and logistics, everything like that, is such a big toll environmentally. So I think he's definitely been weighing that up. The other big factor Vettel talked about in the announcement was his family. He said he wants to spend more time with his 3 kids, with his wonderful wife, and really dedicate more of himself to them. So I think it'll be really nice to see what Seb does post F1. And I've written a column on Autosport talking about Vettel and all of his off-track interests and everything like that, saying that although this is the end of Sebastian Vettel in Formula One, we're just getting started with Sebastian Vettel, a man who's trying to do good things for the world. Now, as much as we wish Seb all the best for whatever does follow his Formula One career, it does also lead to questions about what it means for 2023 and, most importantly, the driver market. That Aston Martin seat is going to have a big impact on the whole drivers market silly season. Now, Vettel said last week that him and Aston Martin have a clear intention to continue working with each other, which naturally did not turn out to be the case. But it's nevertheless going to have a huge impact on the rest of the driver market. A lot of names have come up already as being possibly linked to that seat, a lot of drivers who are out of contract. First up, you've got Sebastian Vettel's protege, Mick Schumacher. Much as Michael Schumacher took Seb under his wing throughout his F1 career, Vettel has done the same for Mick Schumacher. It's been a really lovely story, and it could pave the way for Mick to potentially step in and replace Vettel at Aston Martin for next season. Another driver who would naturally be an option if they wanted a more high-profile signing would be Fernando Alonso. Now, Aston Martin did have an interest in signing him when they eventually went for Vettel for the 2021 season. Alonso is out of contract with Alpine at the end of the season. He said he doesn't want to really talk about his future until sort of September time. Alpine are pretty clear that they would like to keep him on their books, and I'm pretty sure he'll be on the grid next year. But if Alonso were to join Aston Martin, that would of course free up a seat at Alpine for Oscar Piastri. It's a young junior that he wants to get onto the grid next year, but currently is looking at loaning him out to another team such as Williams. Another driver who would love to make another comeback in Formula One is Nico Hülkenberg. He's been working with Aston Martin as its reserve driver ever since losing his seat with Renault at the end of 2019. He's been an ever-present force. They stepped in for Sergio Perez at Racing Point, Lance Stroll when they were Racing Point as well, and Sebastian Vettel at the start of this season when he got COVID-19. Hülkenberg hasn't raced in a few years, but when he has stepped in, he's been competitive, so could well be an option for next season. And finally, there's the man who is at the centre of silly season at the moment, it feels like, and that's Daniel Ricciardo. We know he has a contract with McLaren going through to the end of next season, but there are questions about his future there. There are mechanisms within his contract, the team has already confirmed, that would allow for him to part company with the team early, at the end of this season potentially. He struggled this year, and if he would maybe want to change his scenery, might he fancy a move to Aston Martin to see how things would go with the green team? I know there's going to be a lot of other names that do come up through silly season, and I'm sure a lot's going to happen now. We've had this announcement from Vettel. I think the driver market's going to move very quickly in the coming weeks, so that's something to really stay tuned to. But for now, I think we just have to pay tribute to Sebastian Vettel. He's been an amazing competitor, winning 4 world titles, over 50 Grand Prix, establishing himself as one of F1's all-time greats. But more importantly, I think, is his off-track legacy. He's done so much for the sport. He's such an important spokesperson. Him and Lewis Hamilton have really been leading the way, talking up for the issues that matter, frankly, beyond anything in this paddock. It's real world stuff. It's about climate change, LGBTQ plus rights as well. Very important stuff he's been talking about throughout his time over the past couple of years. And I think that it's that voice F1 is really going to miss. So thank you, Seb. Thank you for the memories, and we wish you the very best of luck in everything that follows.